Yesterday, Apple held their iPad and Apple Watch event on September 15th, and over the next few days we're going to break down all of the new products that have been mentioned, starting out with the new iPads. iPad 8th generation with A12 processors, iPad Air 4th generation with A14. And what does A14 mean for the iPhone?
This is the Apple Daily.
My name's David for Living on iPad, and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you. If you want the latest Apple news, rumours and leaks every day at 12 UTC, click like on this video, subscribe and ring my bell so you can join my notification squad like the guys that will get shouted out at the end of this video. So yes, I was wrong about everything that I thought Apple was going to be releasing. I was pretty certain they weren't going to release anything with an A14 chip without an iPhone. Thanks Luke Miani, I was kind of following your lead on that one. I thought we were definitely going to be getting iPhones, to be completely honest. We also didn't get any updates on Apple Card, even though Apple, it looks like, has gone into a partnership in the UK with Barclaycard to do very similar stuff called an Apple Rewards card. We will see if that is all that's happening or if Apple Card itself is going to be coming to the UK too. It would be great if we got the real deal, because that card looks so much cooler than just a silver plastic one. But let's start off with the iPad 8th generation. Now this is the budget entry-level iPad. I'm here in the UK, so I will talk in UK prices. It's £329 that it starts from. I believe it's $329 in the US as well, but $299 if you are in education. It keeps the same form factor. It's got that 10.2 inch display, and it is getting the A12 Bionic chip. Now that is a big step up from where it was with the A10, but it's not where I really wanted to see it. I would love to see the iPads going in line with the iPhones each year, so the entry-level iPad gets the same as the entry-level iPhone, but apparently that's not what we get. That's where the iPad Air is going to sit, and we will come to that in a moment. Now, the A12 Bionic is no slouch. It is the same processor that was launched in the iPhone XS, XS Max, and the iPhone XR. And the XR is still on Apple's website at the moment. We don't know if that's going to be discontinued this year. It might well be, especially now that we've got things like the iPhone SE in the range, which is a much lower price but with a better processor, but it hasn't got that all-screen display. It hasn't got Face ID and stuff like that. We will see what happens in terms of the iPhones, but certainly the 8th generation iPad is going to be rather nice. Obviously, you're still going to get access to things like the Apple Pencil, but I believe it uses, it's the original Apple Pencil, so it's the first generation Apple Pencil. It does have Lightning ports still, because it's still got the same form factor as these things, so it's still got the tall bezels at the top and the bottom. It's still got a home button with TouchID built in, which I think is a better place for TouchID than what the iPad Air is getting. It will be, because it has Apple Pencil support, it will be getting Scribble support as well, so you will be able to write directly onto the screen and then select that as text, paste it into a regular text document, manipulate it exactly as you would any kind of typed text, which is great. It also becomes searchable, because Apple not only is allowing the text to be kind of written onto the screen, it's also reading what that text says and making it searchable in the normal way. So that will be through Spotlight, that will be within Notes and within any other apps. Scribble also means you will be able to write into text fields in things like Safari or Messages or anything else where you've got a place where you could normally type. You can pretty much write with your pencil. Now the A12 is going to be pretty good for gaming as well. If you've used the current, or rather now the previous generation of iPad Air or the iPad Mini, they both have the A12 Bionic chip, and that's what's coming to this. Camera wise, you're getting an 8 megapixel camera on the back. I believe it's the same one that was in the previous generation, and they note actually that you can shoot and edit HD video on this, and I think that is because they're making a lot more of a fuss about the fact that the A14 chip in the iPad Air can do 4K. 10.2 inch display, that is not going to be laminated, so sorry guys, if you were waiting for a laminated display here, you are sadly out of luck. But as I've mentioned before, it does actually make a lot of sense for the lower priced item. Not only because kids are more likely to have it, you've got stereo speakers, which is great, you've got the 10.2 inch Retina display, and if you do happen to break the digitizer glass on the front, you can replace just that layer. You don't have to replace the whole LCD, which means that your repair costs somewhere around £12 for you to do yourself, compared to probably 60 to 80 if you're getting a very cheap version of the display. Put it this way, an iPhone 7 Plus screen replacement costs around about £180 from Apple. So at that point, if you were to put a laminated display on this, it would really just not be worthwhile to actually repair it. It would probably be more economical to throw it out and get a new one. So the other couple of things that we need to mention: fast Wi-Fi and LTE, 490 grams. That is really light for essentially what is as powerful as many laptop computers. All day battery life, so they always used to tout 10 hours. I think they just call it all day now, but it's basically 10 hours. You can literally use this for the whole day without any charge. And desktop class browsing, they have brought with iOS 13 last year the fact that your iPad will render the desktop versions of websites rather than a mobile version now. In most cases, obviously there are some websites that are still a bit broken, but that is the intent. And obviously you'll get all the benefits of iOS 14. This iPad here is a 5th generation, so this is way old. This is an A9 processor, and it runs iOS 14 really quite nicely. Now, you will be able to use the Apple Smart keyboard cases with this, but it does not have a compatible smart trackpad and keyboard like Magic Trackpad case at the moment. It could be on the way because there is the smart connectors on the back, but it's not here right now. So I think that pretty much wraps up things for the 8th generation iPad. iPad Air 4. Now, this is a beautiful bit of kit. The iPad Air 4 is taking most of its design from the iPad Pro 11-inch. However, the one thing that seems slightly weird is that they're now using a 10.9-inch display instead of an 11-inch display. So it's so close, but is the bezel slightly larger? Maybe it is. Not 100% sure on that until we see it in person. It doesn't look particularly thick, but it wasn't thick enough apparently for them to put in that Face ID sensor, because this is not using Face ID, this is using TouchID, and instead of being in a home button, because they've deleted that for the all-screen design, it's in the top button on the end of your iPad. Now, from what I saw in the demonstrations, it looked like you press that and that will go straight to your home screen in the same way that pressing TouchID used to on a normal iPhone. But remember, people are now getting used to the swipe gestures. Now, the swipe gestures do also work on these older iPads, but you do need to still authenticate it with the Touch ID button. So I guess it's going to be exactly the same as that. When you press the Touch ID on the top, it just opens the screen. There's no real issues with that. It just doesn't seem as nice as it could have been otherwise. So yeah, 10.9-inch display, very nice. Fast, easy, secure Touch ID, powered by our most advanced chip ever. Now, I believe that means that it outperforms the A12Z chips that we currently have in the iPad Pro range, and that's why the iPad Pro is also going to need to get an update pretty soon. The A14 Bionic, from what they were talking about today, is absolutely mind-blowing. So the A14 chip has got a 6-core CPU, a 4-core GPU, it's got a secure enclave, which is for the biometrics, it also has image signal processor, and it's going to be pretty mind-blowing. Now, this thing can quite happily handle your 4K video editing with absolutely no issues at all. They always demonstrate with LumaFusion on these videos, which I really enjoy because that's something that I've been using on these iPads for quite some time. It is great. It also runs really quite nicely on the A12 processor, which is in my iPhone XS, which will be replaced this year, we assume, if they decide to release any iPhones at any point. Now, these iPad Airs will be using the Magic Keyboard case, which is the one with the trackpad in it, which is also the one you can use for the iPad Pro 11-inch. So that's really nice, and it is a really premium kind of experience. I haven't got one. I'm a little bit upset about that. But it gets 60% faster LTE, Wi-Fi 6, lovely jubbly. Also, obviously, liquid retina display, True Tone, P3 wide colour gamut, anti-reflective coating, Apple Pencil 2, so that's the one that magnetically attaches to the edge, very nice, 12 megapixel back camera with focus pixels, and 7 megapixel FaceTime HD camera, so you could do some really decent selfie video with this. The one thing that is going to be really hard is anytime you're doing selfie video with a big screen next to it, you will keep looking at the screen and not at the camera, and that's what I keep doing with my camera here. I keep looking at me and not at the camera, and I'm sorry, I am talking to you. And of course, it comes in colours. This is the first time that the iPad has come in anything more than, I think, white, gold, space grey. They might have had rose gold at one point. and then swapped it back for gold, but I can't remember. But you've now got silver, space grey, rose gold, green and sky blue, and they're quite nice kind of pastel colours. I like the look of them, and yeah, I'm really digging the design. I'm wondering now though, am I right about a tweet that I sent out the other day which mentioned maybe the iPad Pro is going to get stainless steel housings or stainless steel bands around the outside and then an aluminium back, or maybe they're going to go to a glass back, just like the iPhones. Maybe that's the design language that we're going to move to. Who knows? But we are going to see something with that. There is no way on this earth that they will let the iPad Pros be less powerful than the iPad Airs for any length of time. So the iPad Pros will be getting their A14X chips, which are going to be mind-blowing according to the numbers that we were looking at from Luke Miani. It looks like they're going to be in line with an i9 processor. They're going to absolutely destroy the competition, because this A14, before you even go to an X chip, is pretty stunning. I'm super excited now for Apple Silicon. That's one of the things that I really wanted to touch on, is the performance that is in this A14 chip is astonishing. It is mind-blowing. It is going to change the game. And we say this every year, but Android phones still haven't caught up with last year's iPhones in terms of performance, in terms of what they can actually do with the hardware, because of that tight integration that Apple has between the hardware and the software. So we will see what comes out of it. I'm really excited. Let me know in the comments if you are planning to buy yourself an iPad this year. And speaking of the comments, it's notification squad time. None of you guys have joined the notification squad today, and I will accept it because I think a lot of you were probably a bit excited about the event yesterday. So I'm going to forgive it. But if you're watching this for the first time, of you not subscribed, I do suggest that you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and you will get a shout out at this point in the next video that I get to make. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for not unsubscribing when I was wrong about iPhones. And on the plus side, we've still got the iPhone event to come, so we get to do this all over again.